Hello, and welcome along to your regular Tuesday night Gers TV show, live here at Gers TV Towers in Glasgow. How you doing, Lewis?
I know, but I'm a bit confused why you said Gers TV Towers there, as if it's some fucking business hall.
Well, Gers TV Towers, almost as BBC Studios, way it's getting.
Aye, well, we're just about there.
Good man, good man. So Lewis here, and we'll get Simon on the controls tonight. Producer Simon. So Simon, can you talk at all?
Aye, we're all good. It's all set up. I'll take the comments and call
Okay,
chat.
brilliant. Okay, so Simon's going to come on occasionally, and comments you've got, send them in and discuss them and mention them as we always do. So, we are barely 24 hours since the big news of Kevin Farewell and Patrick Stewart. Dave, a long life, certainly IBROX. And yeah, has it sunk in yet?
Aye, well, as I said in last night's show, and even yesterday's show, IBROX as well, it's more relief than anything, to be honest, that these two are actually finally out of our club. The two that we've been on about for the last 2 or 3 months or so, that have been, well, some of the decisions that they've made are frankly outrageous, confusing, strange, however you want to say it, but they're out the door. I think it's time for a fresh start now. A new manager, well, a month in the door. Time for possibly still relatively a new manager, maybe a new CEO and a new director of football. You know what? I think a fresh start's what we've needed at Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't get over the timing of it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I know it has been, just over 24 hours. It's still playing out in my head, and it's really, really strange to think about the timing. And just touching on what you said, I mean, Patrick Stewart, I'm sure he has worked hard in his own way, but he's had 4 managers in 10 months.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. That's not, it's not a good business. Even at a football club, he instigated a so-called football review, his much heralded review, and it's actually ended up him at the door. Did you see it coming at all?
To be honest, no. And, I'm actually, a slight part of me is disappointed because I made a bet with something in the football, Kevin Farewell, here by the end of January. I said he will be, he said he wasn't, and you know what, he's won. So I'm a bit disappointed at that. Frankly, got to look at the picture here. I'm moving forward, a bit more positivity around Rangers, around IBROX. We're happy.
Yeah, I think the reaction on social media, talking to people in work, talking to people in group chats and daily life is just one of absolute relief. And I can't remember a situation where, let's face it, they're board members, and apart from obviously Craig White, I can't really remember a CEO or a director really causing such anger, and let's call it for what it was and what it is, almost hatred towards the CEO and sporting director.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's one Rangers fan out there that's disappointed with this news. So, yeah, as you were saying there, it was almost hatred, and I don't like to get to that point because I don't hate anyone in Rangers. I don't like that whole sort of thing, but it was actually getting to that point with some fans, and that's when you know how bad it's actually getting. It was some of the transfers under Kevin Farewell in that summer window there. I'm just relieved that we're not going into January. That sort of same full of players. And then Patrick Stewart, I mean, where do I even start?
Yeah, I was actually thinking when the drive over to that now, and yeah, I mean, almost everything that Patrick Stewart has touched is, went wrong.
No.
And it's a difficult one because he must have played some part in bringing the Americans on side and played some part in that deal. But something must unravel pretty quickly. I think it's because it wasn't so long ago that they were ignoring the protests, ignoring the chats, and basically saying they've got to do confidence. So what I just can't timing. Like the time for me is really, really strange. But if you were to ask your opinion of that after the recruitment was, what's on with it?
I just think it has been coming for a while, to be honest. I think that's certainly how they've been thinking. Andrew Carter said that something different, so they didn't. I mean, he came out and he admitted that they were underperforming, and you know what, he came out and admitted that this probably should have been done earlier. Basically, I mean, I know he never said those exact words, but I get out from what he said. But you know what? I certainly think these Americans are ruthless. I'm actually surprised they stayed on this long. But yeah, no. I couldn't answer what's brought it on. To be honest, I think it's decent timing. I'm not as confused with the timing. I think with a massive European game coming up, I think it's the right time to get the fans back on side, to get a good atmosphere around IBROX. Get the old Rangers Thursday night IBROX back. I think it would have. I think it would have. I'm not necessarily saying it would have changed it, but them not being here changes it for the better.
You know, like 1,000 people. That's like a relief, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask what you might think is an obvious question, right? I'm going to try and ask it a slightly different way. Okay. So I actually think that some. Do you think that some fans were starting to lose trust in the ownership after the battle of he who shall remain nameless? Transfers not exactly planned. Farewell and Stewart. And let's face it, the debacle of Muscat, the process was flat at the start. Do you think some fans, maybe including yourself, will start to lose confidence in the new regime? And how far do you think this decision yesterday will have went to that as the fans lose?
It's a very good question, Gordy. I'm going to speak on for one side, for a wee change. For a change, I'll go from my perspective. I don't necessarily think I lost faith in the Americans. I was just starting to lose a bit of patience more with, of course, Patrick Stewart and Kevin Farewell, as we all were. So I don't necessarily blame the Americans, because at the end of the day, it wasn't them that brought both Patrick Stewart and Kevin Farewell in. Patrick Stewart came in last December, and then Kevin Farewell in April. But a good few months before the deal was actually finalised, 49ers. So I don't blame them at all. I don't hold any heart. I know there is Rangers fans that do, and there's actually Rangers fans, if anything now, feel a lot more not more upset with the board, because they came out only a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, saying that Patrick Stewart and Kevin Farewell had their full support, and now they've just been sacked. So it's a bit. I mean, you can't necessarily expect the board to necessarily come out and say they don't have their trust in their own families. They can't come out and say that, but at the same time, you've got to question why so quickly after an interview saying they've got our back. Got their back. Yeah.
Maybe and just one quick question before we do that.
Yeah, of course.
And, how much? I nearly forgot it there actually. I was a senior citizen moment there.
Senior citizen.
How much a part do you think the new manager Danny Rowe has played?
He'll definitely play a part, I think. Not huge necessarily. I don't think huge. But certainly, and I spoke about it last night, that Danny Rowe came out in an interview not too long ago, roughly about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and it was asked if the players that we'll be bringing in January will be his players or Kevin Farewell's players. That's basically what the question was. And he basically said that they were going to be his players. So I don't know if he was kind of hinting at something maybe happening with Kevin Farewell at least. But, you know, I've heard rumours that Danny Rowe wasn't too keen on the both of them. So if that is the case, that Danny Rowe wasn't keen on the both of them, I certainly think he'll have played a part in it.
Okay, what was your eyes on Young? I'm going to ask you to maybe read some comments. We can't Simon.
That's all right.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right, Si's going to read them. Right,
so that Chick Shark, apathy is almost set in. For many Rangers fans, he's not been a Rangers supporter for a while, and it became Rangers fans. So, being a supporter to a fan, due to apathy.
Has been, yeah, indeed, there has been a big amount of apathy in summer. Very good point.
Just a comment here. It sounds a bit dodgy, but I think he's talking about the time that why they get the day. Well, short at that time. I don't know if it's or if he means it's signed in here. But sounds all right.
I think there might be more to come on that. I think I don't think journalists and people will stop asking questions on it. So it's interesting. Timing's very at least very interesting.
There has to be more to come from this, and I assume that one of the questions from any sort of journalist will be why now? Why now? Why not 8 weeks ago? Why not 2 months ago? Same thing, really. Why not wait until after January and see how they get on in January? Why now? Mid-season, right? About a month and a half where you're going into a massive January window, one of the biggest January transfer windows possibly in the club's recent history. Anyways, so yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's got a lot to do with it. The fact that these guys in charge spend tens of millions on to tens of millions of pounds on players who I think we need a bit of a reality check on this. They're not. They're not at this moment in time anyway. They look that good.
Yeah.
If I'm being totally blunt, and I think being fourth in the league for December, I think we have to be honest with ourselves. I don't think we've got a great squad at the moment.
But in the last 4 games in the league, Dan Rowe has got 12 points out of 12. So that's something to take away from it. We were, as I actually mentioned in the last night show, there was a point not too long ago that we were fearing being second bottom of the league, and we're now back up with it. So I've not lost faith that we can win the league. I certainly still think we can. I said it yesterday, I said it last night. I think we can still win the league. I think we can still go on and finish this season strong. And another good point that Simon made last night as well. I'm like,
Two good points.
yeah, it's a bit like you with two good questions in one.
What's going on? The production values in the CRCV soaring.
So I said last night that we're glad that this horrendous split started as being at the start of the season rather than at the end of the season. And like when it was under Philip Clement and we just basically bottled the league title, if I must say.
I mean, I don't think I was kind of being Nostradamus a few weeks ago when I said that for all intents and purposes, I don't think Hearts were going to be top of the league come May. I still think that we'll have a good season. I think we'll get back to winning ways very shortly. But we've caught up, at least 4 points in a week with Hearts. However, I don't think we played particularly well on Saturday.
No.
We probably had our worst performance under Daniel, and I think this is now a good point in the show to come our attention to on the park, which have been kind of thrown out the water, certainly within the last 24 hours. But should we talk about the game?
Yeah, we'll talk a wee bit. We'll talk a wee bit about the game against Livingston before we go into the game on Thursday night, a massive European game. But yeah, we'll talk about Saturday. I think the main thing for Saturday is we need our backup defenders are, if I must say, horrendous. they're not good enough. Yeah, yes, Fernandez scored from a corner. Yes, he's about 7 foot tall. You're expecting him to win headers from corners. I'm going to be blunt about it. You're expecting him to win headers from corners. But that ball over the top for Livingston's goal, and the fact that Livingston actually should have had a penalty, and I hate to say it, they really should have had a penalty. We could have been 2-1 down in half an hour going into half time that game. We could have been 2-1 down. So our defence is absolutely rank on. Yeah, as you said, Saturday was a very poor performance. It was not pretty to watch. I think all Rangers fans put. Not pretty to watch on Saturday. It was a pretty close performance. I think we're all glad that we all obviously got the 3 points, but at the end of the day, that is all that matters. But I'm still concerned. I'm still concerned with the football.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just, you want to keep talking, Lewis? I'm just.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, the 2 goals that we scored, the first goal, of course, from a set piece. You've got Scott Fry, the new set piece coach, making an instant impact. And it's simple as, I'm going to say again, Si made another good point last night for once.
3 good points.
Three good points in the one show, yes, I know. I think I'm just saying all side sports now. It was so simple. There's a big boy in the box, 6'5", 6'6". Play a high ball into the box, and he's going to win the header. And it was a very, very good header, very good header, very good cross from, I believe, James Tavernier as well. So I was impressed at that. I think we'll see more. I think there's going to be more to come in terms of the set pieces. I think we'll certainly see them drastically improve. So, yeah, Livingston's goal, it's that simple ball over the top, simple ball through the middle that we've been on and about in the channel for so long, even under He Who Shall Not Be Named. It was the same. It was that simple ball through the middle. So that's just, well, to put it frank, it was schoolboy errors.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying it on the show week in, week out. I don't think it takes a particularly great tactician watching the football to work out that even now it was balls along the ground, balls over the top, as long as it's in the middle of the park where 2 defenders splitting off each other, then it splits our defence, whether it's on the ground, on the deck, or over the top. We've got a big problem where any ball over on our defenders that split the defenders are they don't know where to go, don't know where to turn, and we've lost so many countless goals. Now, teams will always lose goals here and there with balls like that, or balls through the middle, right? But when it happens, sometimes multiple times during the same match, and when it happens week in, week out, now, is it because the defence is set up to play such a high line they can't track back? Are they not aware? Is it the positional sense? Or is it they're just switched off? I mean, is it a combination of all 3? Let us know what you think in the comments. But can you put a handle on it, do you think? You get any ideas or opinions on what's just going wrong?
Yeah, well, it's consistently poor, and as you're saying, we're seeing it multiple times a game. We're seeing it, so I think it's just I think the defenders are falling asleep. We've seen it going back to August. Actually, now we're going back to the Bruges home leg, and we've seen it with Giga just completely falling asleep. Well, the whole defence really fell asleep for that. I believe it was the first or second goal. I can't remember. My mind's kind of blanked it out, which I'm quite glad it has done.
Well, over the course of the 2 games, there's 9 to choose from. So,
there's plenty to choose from. So, yeah, I think it's just down to the defenders falling asleep. To be honest, it's lazy. It just seems so lazy. See when you're watching it on the telly or you're even in the stadium, it just looks like complete and utter laziness. Doesn't really look like any real attempt to go back and win the ball.
Yeah. Okay. There's a real need for defenders at the club.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a real need for strikers as well, and midfielders. But how do we change it? Like, do we go back to playing 3 at the back, or I mean, what's the solution?
Well, in terms of setup, I certainly didn't mind the 3 back when Danny Rowe first came in, his first 1, 2, maybe 3 games, especially the Hibs game, which I believe we played a 3 at the back. I didn't mind that at all. it's more sturdy. Of course, you've got say Cornelius out on the left. I know he's injured now. Tavernier even out on the right, or Suter out on the right, or Giga, however, and someone in the middle as well. You can almost spread out a bit, but see if they're tight as well. You're having majority of teams are going to be playing a 4-3-3, or they're going to have 3 players going forward. When you have 3 defenders, you've got 1 in every man, really. So I think it's more really not common sense to play a 3 at the back, because I certainly think a 4 back can be influential as well and beneficial in a lot of games. But I certainly think a game like that at the weekend, I think a 3 at the back is a clear approach that you should take. So I don't want to slander the manager too much because he's just in the door. But I certainly think that was a more tactical error. But at the same time, who else are you going to play? Because we've got 2 main centre halves out. We've only really got 2 to choose from, maybe 3 if you're counting Ciala.
Yeah, and I don't rate any Ciala, Giga, or I'm not really my jury's out on Fernandes, to be honest, because I think he possibly has potential. But do you really think that playing 3 at the back against Livingston is necessary? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Danny Rowe, he seemed to have the right idea, but I don't know why he didn't play 2 up front. But I just don't think we should be playing 3 at the back at home against these teams. However,
teams are going to be hitting in the break.
They're getting goals against us.
Exactly.
So yeah, Fernandes, great bullet header, great jump. I mean, he must have jumped about 10 foot. He must have been about 10 foot off the ground when he connected.
Oh, he's about 10 feet tall, to be fair.
So it was good. It was good to see us, because we have commented on in previous seasons and previous months how little we actually score from set pieces and set plays. I really, really want to avoid the topic of our strikers tonight, because I'm getting,
how many goals have our strikers scored this season, Gordy? How many now?
I'm getting bored of myself saying it. But so we might, if we got to talk about that later. But there was a couple of controversial decisions, shall we say, in the Livingston game.
Yep.
For once, they went in our favour. But handball in our box. Yeah. What's your thoughts, Lewis?
Well, I don't even want to talk about the rules for handball, because I think every time we talk about them, they're actually changing. So that for me at the weekend, I think the rule should be that, I mean, it's a clear handball. You can argue whether it's hit off his leg and onto his arm, but at the end of the day, it's hit his hand. It's affecting the play. If that hits off his leg, that could possibly be deflecting and going towards goal. So yeah. It certainly looked like when he hit it, it was definitely going towards goal. It looked like it was going to be a shot on target, possibly challenge keeper, maybe even go in. So for me, decisions like that, if it was against Rangers, I'd be fuming. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's always the kind of question we ask in these situations. If it was our attackers or our playing the box and hit off a defender, would you be screaming for it? And I think we would be, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. If it happened for us, or it happened, well, if it happened against us, or if it happened for the other team across the city, you're not going to be happy. You're not. So I think you've got to take that into consideration as well. Look, the rules are that it isn't a penalty. I get that, but for me, the rules just keep changing with the whole handball thing. With what is and what isn't a penalty. So you can't truly know. Aye, and spot on. That's basically what I'm saying now. So it's actually confusing. It's getting confusing. That's right.
Yeah. So maybe got a couple of questions, but just pause for a wee sec to see if there's any more comments you want to read out.
Aye, there's a few. Just put some on the screen there.
Okay.
Just basically saying never a handball. Peter McCready's made a good point. We played sweeper back in the day. I had to put on the screen here. Peter McCready said they played sweeper back in the day, gone by, and he could read the way the opposition is playing. Never defence, including our captain. Didn't work out that every time Livy got the ball, they pointed it.
Yeah,
exactly.
The game.
Exactly. Yeah. These teams are going to play it long. They're going to hit us in the break. They're going to basically catch us when we're sleeping.
Yeah,
bully us. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, every time we go to Rugby Park, the same striker scores the same goal against Suter. So, yeah, good comments.
Personally, I think Ivana, because he's not a football man, he thought giving away that money and would let them run the club because they were looking in from afar. believing we would be in good hands with them. So I think basically,
Well,
to say that.
well, I think it's a bit harsh to say he's not a football man, considering they're both Kavanagh and Parag Marath are the chairman and co-chairman of Leeds United and have been for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, they've been in sports for probably a good part of their life as well with the 49ers. Of course, American football and real football, if you want to say, are a totally different game. But these soccer, if you want to say soccer, but these Americans they're coming into it more as a sort of not business approach. I don't like saying that because I don't like the whole franchise thing that goes on in American football. I don't think they're approaching necessarily with that approach, but they're wanting football men in the door because realistically they know more about the game than what they do. So, yeah, well, what was the comment there? Sorry, I kind of forgot to say.
Basically, for want a better thing, just to hopefully summarise it, is that they gave Stewart and Thelwell money and a free rein because they thought that they would have better expertise than them, and they've realised that it's now been a mistake.
Well, I'm surprised it's taken them this long to realise it's a mistake. And as I was saying earlier, I think that'll be one of the questions that journalists ask them when given the chance. Why now? Why not 2 months ago? Why not 6 weeks ago or whatever? So, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so just kind of.
There's another one here, Danny Rowe. I think he's had a word with Kavara saying that these players were brought in there they're not good enough to work with, and he's no longer. Let's be honest, none of them would trust Thelwell in January. I was basically saying that Danny Rowe had no trust in the last setup, and he's maybe suggesting they're going to do.
Nah, I'd be surprised if. I'd be surprised if there was anyone in the door that had trust in them, considering you look at the money that was spent 25 million or so in the summer window, and you look at what we brought in. And I'm not going to try to turn into you. We're talking about the strikers with the goals and all that. But with Chermiti and Miovski, I think they scored a combined 3 or 4 goals between them.
I mean, at 3.
Stats man here.
3. So unfortunately, it's like we're here to talk about the game, and a big part of the game is the fact that we've got strikers that aren't scoring goals. However, what I would say, and I have mellowed a slightly on this with the strikers, is that I look at players like Antman, Asgard, Diomande, who are meant to be creative players, and I don't want to start talking about assists and stats and assists, but I'd be interested to see,
we're whipping out the XG stats.
How? Well, I mean, if it doesn't tell you everything about a game, but it tells you it tells you a direction of travel. If we're creating 30 chances a game and we're not converting them, that tells you it's the striker's fault.
Oh yes.
If we're not creating if we're only creating a handful of chances, but the strikers are scoring, then that tells you that it's the creative player's fault. Right now, it's both, I think, for us, because we're not creating a lot of clear-cut chances, and when we do, the strikers are kind of misfiring them. But I honestly, I'm struggling to remember a bit of play for the whole season where Asgard has, beat a couple of men and set up a goal.
Dundee United.
Okay, like once, right?
To be fair, that's the only one I can name.
So let's just give the benefit and say it's 3, right?
Okay.
But how many games we've played? We've played 11, 12 games in the league. We've played
4 games in Europe. We've played.
No, we've played more than 4 games.
I know. Well,
Asgard's only played
in the Europa League. We've played.
Yeah.
4 games in Europe.
So I mean, I think he must have set up one or at the very, very most 2 goals. Now, when you're playing for Rangers, you can't get away with that.
No.
And Diomande, I think Diomande was credited with the goal on Saturday and scored it after a big delay. And I do think Miovski came on and played okay, to be fair to him.
He came on and made a positive impact,
Yeah.
Especially that run that he made for the second goal.
Yeah.
To get in there and reach the ball.
Fair play and fair credit when it's due.
Of course.
I just think Dilo, didn't do much, but he had a great effort out of nothing with creating it himself. So they are trying. It's just very, very, very concerning that we are now coming into a very important part of the season, which December and the Old game in January.
Yep. Well, I think
Could make or break whether we can challenge for the title.
Yep.
And we need this needs to get sorted out. Raskin is still capable of doing it, but Diomande, he's not really done too much this season either. So how can we get these guys going, Lewis? How can we get Asgard, Diomande, Antman, and then Gassama's done okay since he came in, but he needs more consistency. What's the secret? What are we missing here? Sorry about your spot.
No, you're fine. I don't think there's necessarily one thing that you can say that's going to improve all these players. Antman is definitely a player that there is quality. So same with Gassama, as much as had quite a poor game at the weekend. Antman's been okay. He said 1 or 2 fantastic games. The rest he's been a bit really invisible, if I need to put it so blunt. So I don't think there's necessarily one thing. There's a lot of technical ability in that squad, but I just don't know if it's quite suited to Scottish football, because as we all know, the Scottish game is very physical, and your players like your Diamandes, your Asgards, maybe even Gassama, maybe not so much your wingers. I don't think it affects your wingers as much, but your midfielders, your players in the middle of the park, even your fullbacks as well. But we're talking about Diamande, Asgard, Joe Rothwell as well, who we've not seen in action for a long, long time, specifically since Danny Rose came in. I don't actually think he's played any minutes since Danny Rose came in. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys in the comments, or Gordy or Sai, correct me if I'm wrong. But I just think we are lacking physicality in midfield. And I'm not saying go in and get a sort of a Graham Souness character, someone who everyone's going to fear, because I think we're in modern times now. The game's changed. I don't think you can get away with anywhere near what players like your Graham Souness, even your Roy Keane's got away with back in those days.
You're right. I think you're definitely right. He's not starting the game.
Aye.
I think he might have put as a sub, but I mean, again, that just shows you like the transfer. I mean, he's got a good pedigree. So all these players have got good pedigrees that were brought in.
Looking back, and I actually think he started the game away to Bran. I'm pretty sure he actually started the game away to Bran, but we've not seen any of them, so we don't surely know how he's going to play in a Danny Rose setup. I would like to see it, because when Joe Rothwell came in, he was probably, by the end of the summer window, he was probably one of the players who I was more excited about, because he had that pedigree. He played in the Premier League. He played with some okay level clubs, your Bournemouth, your Leeds, your Southamptons, of course. Southampton aren't doing necessarily too well, but Leeds and Bournemouth now in the Premier League, Bournemouth doing well. So there was a lot of excitement with some of the players that we brought in, your Gassamas, your Rothwells, even Asgard, who I thought was going to be a fantastic signing for how well he did with Wigan for 5.5 years. Then he did well with Luton in only 6 months. So I was very excited, and frankly, I'm disappointed. Miovski's the biggest disappointment for me, though. I'm obviously disappointed with Chermiti by how much we spent on him, but I think no one expected him to live up to that 8 million expectation or price tag.
Not straight away, anyway.
No, certainly not straight away. But Miovski's the biggest one that I've been disappointed with, because it was the one that I thought would be able to come in, hit the ground running, score goals quickly, because he's played in Scotland before. He played with Aberdeen for 2-3 years, and he scored goals. He scored goals in big games. So I don't want to call him. I don't want to say he's poor and that he's not good enough for Rangers, because I really hope he comes good. Same with Chermiti. I hope Chermiti comes good, and I hope he does live up to that £8 million price tag. I don't see it, but I see it more from Miovski than what I do with Chermiti.
My own personal opinion is that they're struggling with the pressure.
Yes.
They're playing for Rangers, and they're playing within themselves, and they don't want to take a risk at the moment, which is a shame, because they're the kind of players that will thrive in taking risks. But it's still early on in their careers. The jury is not fully out on them, but it's getting to the time where they need to step up and play.
Yep.
Because we're coming to a really critical time in our season. And speaking about which, you mentioned the Brand game and Rothwell played, so quite a good time to segue onto Thursday night. It's just 2 days' time. We've got a big, massive game. I think if we've got any chance to make the top 24 in this competition, it's must win. What's your thoughts on the upcoming game, Lewis, on Thursday?
Absolutely agree with you there. I think if we've got any chance of going into this sort of playoff round or qualifying for the next stages of the Europa League, we need to win this game. This basically makes or breaks our chances of European football after February. Now after January, anyways, because European football now goes into January, your group stage, league phase, whatever you want to call it now. So I think certainly a must win. I think it is a very winnable game. We've beat better teams, but we've lost the worst. And I feel like I'm saying that going into every single European game. We've beat your high caliber teams in Europe, but that was 3-4 years ago. Now we've struggled in Europe this season. We lost to Genk, Sturm Graz, Brann, and Roma. Roma probably the only high pedigree team out of the four of them. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brann and possibly Genk are your pot 4 teams. In fact, might be Brann and Ludogorets Razgrad. But we've lost to 3 teams that we really, really should be beating.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, on paper, Roma, I don't know if I still top of Serie A, but they won again at the weekend there.
I think they're fourth. I think fourth or third.
I think they're all on 24 points, right, to be fair. So just wanted to give Roma their due.
Yep.
Good team. They definitely played within themselves, just to take the foot off the gas, as Italian teams are love to do when they go a couple of goals up. But you're absolutely right. The other games are any season in the last 5 years, we're looking at winning these games. I think we have got the possibility of 3 winnable games coming up. Ludogorets, Ferencváros, and Braga. That's the game in 2 days' time. I think Porto is going to be a stretch unless we do somehow get these guys thriving up front.
You never know.
You never know.
You truly never know, because that game's not until January. You never know who we bring in.
I still think we're capable. Based on what we've seen so far this season, you think we've got no chance. However, we've said it before, there is something about IBROX on a Thursday night. The atmosphere will be a lot better, more positive after the departures of the 2 Ronnies on Monday. And I think there'll be a feel-good factor. I think the fans will be not more passionate. That's the wrong word to use, because they're always passionate. What I mean is they'll just be overall a better vibe. Yeah, that's just a general positivity, more of a positivity. You'll hear it in conversations. There'll be less moaning and groaning. You'll see it and hear it in the pubs before and after.
I think you'll see the fans get behind the team more instead of booing them or shouting abuse. Yeah. I think you'll certainly see fans more cheering, applauding, getting behind the team.
So if, and it's a big if we get a win on Thursday night, the way it's when it's a big if, it could kickstart the rest of the campaign. And if we can beat, I think if we can get 9 points, we will finish in the top 24. But we're giving ourselves such a mountain to climb, and it's going to be tough. But we're eternal optimists, and that's what football is about. What's your predictions on that then? Not for Thursday night then.
I really don't know. I think we will concede a goal, and I think we'll concede first. I do think Braga will take an early lead, as much as I really hope I'm proven wrong. But I would like to say 2-1 Rangers, and I would like to see it.
You're not the Gers TV. If you like to say it, just say it. Go.
I'll say 2-1 Rangers. To score and a Tavernier penalty.
Good. So that'll be his 3rd goal of the season then. Simon, you want to give a prediction for Thursday night?
2-0 Rangers.
2-0 Rangers. Okay, there you go.
And yourself?
Well, I think.
Don't say we're going to get beat.
No, I think there's going to be a different feeling on Thursday. You said the right word, a different vibe. I think there'll be a genuine positivity, a warmth, a much more positive vibe. Keep saying it. And I think Rangers will come out the traps, and I think there'll just be a collective side. Apparently, Patrick Stewart wasn't the best to work with. I don't think there was a great atmosphere at the club. I think Everton might just, the clouds were lifted. I'm going to go for Rangers 3, Braga 0.
Well, I certainly hope so, because that would be a very strong victory in Europe that I think the players would be a lot more confident that we could march on to the next 2 or 3 games in Europe. Of course, you've got Ferencváros, you've got Ludogorets and Porto away, which of course is a massive ask to get 3 points, even a point away to Porto. But it'll certainly give them a lot more confidence. A big boost. 3-0 Rangers would be a fantastic result, especially going into the weekend as well. I think I don't know if you guys will maybe do a show leading up to the Falkirk game on Sunday. But that's a very massive game, and that's a hard game as well because Falkirk are in form. They've just recently beat Dundee United 3-0 away from home, a newly promoted side. You never see that. And I think I seen something.
They should have beat us at the Falkirk Stadium. So
They should have beat us at Falkirk. So
To be fair, you can see that every team.
True. Aye, yeah.
but they're not a team to mess around. And you're thinking a newly promoted team at home, we should be thumping them. I'll say we should be thumping them at home.
Okay.
But that's not. I don't think that'll be the case on Sunday because they're a strong team. But I think if we can get a big win, a big boost around the squad, a big boost of confidence, I think that'll set us up perfectly.
Okay, going to end the show very shortly. There is one kind of topic I want to touch on quickly that broke tonight.
Yes.
And some positivity. Just before that, any comments?
No, just highlighted something on there. But apparently the weekend, Mark Catley was at speakers night, and Mark Catley was asked would he play Shamiti if he was a manager, and he said no.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I think Shamiti. I don't know. I think he has to go out on loan, and he has to go out on loan to a lower league club, maybe Championship, League One.
Possibly even go to a team in Portugal as well, back in some country for 6 months or so. I don't think he would. I think a team like Braga would be perfect because I seen a comment there. They're sat 7th in the league, which is underperforming for a team like Braga. They're probably your fourth biggest or best team in Portugal, so they're certainly underperforming.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And I really don't think a team like Braga's going to take Shamiti. I mean, they'll look at his record and go, no. I really don't think a team like Braga. Honestly, I cannot see him going to any kind of mid-level club.
No.
I think Shamiti's main focus has to be scoring goals. He has to work out how to find the back of the net, and the only way, if he's a good player, he's going to have to suck it up for 6 months and go somewhere where he can score 15, 20 goals.
Mm.
That's just my opinion.
You could argue that he could go to not poorer league because I think that's a bit harsh to say, but a poorer league across Europe, but a more top team in that league where he's going to be getting chances and he's going to get the chance to put the ball in the back of the net to get a bit of confidence. I think he's a perfect sort of player for the weekend. I think if he was to play a full 90 minutes against Falkirk, I think we would see him score or at least get some great opportunities to score. So I don't necessarily think we're going to see him become your 25, 30 goal a season striker. I don't think we'll see that come from him at all. But you never know. You never know with Rangers. You've got there's definitely talent in that squad, and I really hope that they come good.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this in it before. I think there's players in there. I think they have to live with and they have to understand and deal with the pressure of playing for Rangers and wearing that shirt. It's an iconic shirt, as we all know. So it's just a kind of final talk. We can recap things in a minute and do a summary, but just a very positive and interesting topic. A story broke this evening, not long before we kind of came on air. I can't see any of that.
Shamiti to Drumchapel amateurs.
Well, maybe not Drumchapel amateurs.
Novo's former team.
Aye. No, hey.
A great team, no far from me.
Right. Right, I'm getting surround sounded here.
Back in the corner.
Well, a team. See, I know you wouldn't never happen, but see a team like we've got an affiliation like Raith Rovers or Linfield, somewhere you could just go and bang in just for 6 months, just go and bang in 20 goals, and then you could get that confidence back. I mean, that would never happen, but it's just my opinion. So. Something I would want to touch upon, want your opinion on this, Lewis, and then anyone out there as well, any comments. Rangers have announced that they will be doing what they call a consultation with the fans.
Yep.
And it's going to be quite far-reaching and quite wide by the sounds of things. And they are looking for suggestions, ideas, comments, plans, basically how to improve the match day experience in and around the club, alongside other things like perhaps stadium expansion, etc., etc. So, any thoughts on that, Lewis? What if you go to the games regularly, as we all do? What would make your day that? And obviously a win, right? And strikers scoring goals, right? So let's just assume that our strikers are scoring more than 6 goals in 46 games. I had to get it in there, right? And we're playing well, or top of the league, right? Assume all that's going well, right? But the actual match day experience itself, what would you like to see at the club?
I would like to see the stadium packed out absolutely every single game. I would like to see the fans getting behind the team. That's why I think this is massive on Thursday night, and I think I actually disagree with you when you're talking about the timing of Thelwell and Stuart getting the sack. I think this is good timing, as much as I do believe it should have happened a long while ago. But now that I look at it, it's good timing going into a massive game. It's a great time to get the fans back on board. Great time to get the fans behind the team. Give them the best possible chance to win games. So I think if there was to be an IBROX extension, I think our main focus is getting bums and seats now at the moment, because we've got to be realistic. The only games that we're getting a full sold out IBROX are your old firms, your bigger European ties, and potentially your games against Aberdeen, Hibs, all depending on how we're actually playing in the league.
Yeah, so interesting comment there about German football. And
Yeah.
so, sorry, just what I was alluding to there, Lewis. And by the way, I don't think the timing's bad for Thelwell and Stuart. It's great timing, because if we did it any day, it would be great. But I was just a bit surprised at the timing, that was all. I was a bit shocked, that's all. But what we're talking about, making it a better match day experience, the facilities, if you like, or is there anything they could build? So obviously we've got Edmundston House now.
Let's have a beer in the stadium. That's the best experience.
Okay, not so much Rangers can do about that at the moment.
No,
I'm sure that will take part of the thinking. But what about entertainment before the game, after the game? I think after the game is a big opportunity. After the game, if we could get a beer, I'd love to.
Yes,
stay at IBROX and see a concert or something. Or
certainly. Well, I don't necessarily know about concerts, but
I'm not talking about Harry Styles or anything like that, Simon's band, or
better catering. Yeah, I think that's something that majority of Rangers fans have yearned for a long while.
Yeah,
the pies aren't great. They're dear. It's drinks are dear. Even like a wee bar of chocolate, you're talking £150, £2 for a wee bar of chocolate. A packet of crisps, you're talking the same. The catering's poor IBROX, I think. We need to make the whole.
Never enough.
Well, and there's never enough as well. You go and they're advertising like chicken curry pies, doner kebab pies, and you're asking what have you got? Steak and Scotch pies. That's all they've got.
And about £4 each. Catering, okay, yeah. I think if we had a better catering offer, we can make more money out of that.
Yeah.
What about in the car parks or anything around IBROX? Could we do a kind of entertainment there? They've started to do a little bit here and there. But what would you like? Because could we do anything there?
I think. Well, majority of games, if not every game, New Edmundston House is available to all fans that have a ticket to the game, and most of the time it's quite full. And the few times I've been, and even if it has been a smaller game, say a league fixture against a bottom 6 team in the league, it's pretty much full. And majority of people are having a beer, having a juice, whatever, drinking, not drinking, whatever, having something to eat. And there's always some sort of, there's either an ex-player or a singer up on the stage talking, or singing if it's a singer, obviously. Hate to state the obvious. Yeah. But no, like entertainment, I think that should probably be the least of our worries right now, because there is already a good bit there, and the fans enjoy seeing whether it's Marvin Andrews or Ian Durant, or if it's somebody for the Rangers B team or the women's squad or whatever like that, going up there and answering questions or asking questions to the fans. The fans love that. We all enjoy that. So I certainly think entertainment's not great. Something else for me is better car parks, because I believe one of the car parks are shut because they're building houses. But you look at a lot of the NFL stadiums, and I don't think we're ever going to get to level, but you look at the parking spaces, you look at how much parking there is. There's probably about 5 times the amount of space for parking spaces than what there is for the actual football, for the actual sports ground. If that makes sense, the way I worded that, I don't quite know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I
you know
mean,
what
certainly the infrastructure at the club, I think the transport is poor because, let's face it, the infrastructure is so poor that everyone's more concerned about getting out of the stadium to get home. So you've got they call it Subway Loyal, but if you're waiting an hour to get
Yeah.
home, then you can't really. Sometimes you can't blame them. So just the question I'm going to ask is, what about reopening the train station from Central to Ibrox? Right now, all you're relying on is a subway, which is crowded, and you can't. You're
the only way that folk are actually
Get
getting
up.
to the games now is if they're driving and they've bought a car park space, a supporters bus, or getting the subway, which they're potentially waiting, an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever. They're waiting a while for it. So I certainly think transport to the ground needs to be improved. I know there is buses that run from Paisley Road West. You can get
horrific.
they are poor. You can get the 9A that takes you into the city centre, takes you into the Buchanan bus station.
But
And
that just
interrupts you
leads
off
to
outside the station.
traffic jams. And
Yeah, no, of course. Like traffic after Rangers games, specifically like your motorways and all that. It is poor. The transport is poor, but I think we're going to come on to the point now that we were all talking about stadium expansions and things actually inside the ground. I seen a wee comment there about flute bands at half time. I know they do that over at Linfield. I think, to be honest, you not struggle to get away with it over here because I think it's a bit more than that. But
you're like military
I
bands.
certainly think, no, of course. I mean, yeah, of course. But I think we all know what we mean when we say flute band at half time. You see Linfield, they've got their flute bands at half time a lot of the time. So I just don't see that happening now. I think the whole Rangers loyalist culture, I think like the Rangers loyalist orange culture and all that, I think that's trying to be taken away from the club by those that are high up there. I think those high up there don't truly understand the whole culture of your flute bands, your loyalism and all that. And we're not going to get fully into that tonight, but I just don't see us getting to that point now.
Well, I mean, I can't see it ever be a situation where there's a flute band at half time playing the sash on the flute as much as.
I think a lot of us would enjoy it, but
yeah, just I think realistically, but I think
of course.
I just getting back to a minute ago, just we'll maybe get onto stadium expansion in a wee second, but just getting back to the infrastructure, it's something that nobody thinks about really, and where else in Britain do you have 50,000 people going on a weekly basis? There's such a massive opportunity there for revenue, and I'm not even just talking about Rangers itself, for the wider kind of local community and for Glasgow as well. Now, Glasgow makes a lot of money out of Rangers, but if you had better transport lines, a train station, then that would encourage people to leave the car at home. Better for the. I know we're not maybe want to talk about environmentally friendly policies here, but having
Starting to sound like the Green Party.
don't really. I mean, I'm really just talking about a common sense idea for making money, but it's a benefit. People would actually think about that benefit. If you had a train station at Ibrox again, which has been in the past, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Then that encourages people to leave the car at home. It means there's less footfall, there's less rush at the stadium. If you know that you've got a regular train going into the city centre every 15 minutes, every half an hour, you're going to stay for 90 minutes for a start. I think that you're going to go for a pint at the Loudon or Edmonton House, or you're going to stay for the post-match entertainment. One of the biggest fears people have at the moment going to football is how they get home.
Yeah,
I know it's daft to say, but we need to be, if we want to have these conversations, then we need to be realistic with what people are saying. And so having better transport links, I think, would and if you increase the stadium size as well, it will encourage people. If you get 10,000 extra seats at Ibrox, you're going to have better infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be tough to expand the stadium, considering, as I said before, we're not getting sellouts every game as we did maybe 3 or 4 years ago. We're certainly not getting as much sellouts in the ground, and I hate to say it, but the whole people leaving after 70 minutes, and as you were saying, this is why better public transport to the stadium would be so beneficial for the fans, but also for the team, because those last 10, 20 minutes in a game of football can be crucial, can totally change the game. And the fact that you're getting half the ground At least half the ground. I mean, you look at the
That's-
game in
That's
Saturday.
actually a great point, and that is what I was alluding to. But you've actually put it perfectly.
Yeah,
Like you have put it
you're,
perfectly there,
you're,
mate.
you're
where-
getting half the stadium leaving by the 70, 80 minute mark, and it's something that Rangers are actually known for, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Obviously not in
But
a good way, but still.
because part of the issue, as I say, I don't want to go back to it, but it is about, after 60 minutes, 70 minutes, your mind naturally as a human being goes on, right? Well, how am I going to get home? And
Aye.
I just think if you had regular, I mean, there's a train station at Cardonald, there's a train station at Glasgow Central, so I was what in between. It wouldn't be actually that hard to connect up these stations even all the way to Paisley, but I think the main concern first and foremost would be from Glasgow city centre. But there shouldn't be any issue at all when you're having a train line running from IBROX. And what you could do, Glasgow's one of the only cities in the world without an actual direct train link to its airport, so you could actually have that line airport IBROX and
Yeah, but I seen a wee sort of project that I think somebody for the city had done, and it was sort of a train line that was mapped out like London's one.
It was me. That's what I'm talking about on the show.
And it did include that whole Glasgow, and it included IBROX as well, and of course,
So it's just a massive opportunity we're missing out on. If we had, say we had 10,000 extra, and I think the problem is not really our games selling out, because if the season tickets are maxed out, it's people actually going to the games.
Yeah. I think that's a good point for us to finish up on. I know there's European football on tonight, there's Champions League football on tonight. I think we all wish we were playing tonight or tomorrow night.
the way the European games have went this season, I'm not so sure, mate. But,
fair enough. Some big games on tonight. I'm sure you'll all be wanting to go and watch. So we'll finish up in perfect timing for you to go and switch over to TNT Sports and watch the football tonight. And you want to finish up on, Gordy?
It's a great advert there for
TNT Sports.
there. That was great.
You want to sponsor us, TNT? I mean,
just want to say thanks very much for your shares, your comments, coming into the show. Thanks very much on behalf of the Gers TV from myself, Gordon. Good night, Simon. Any last messages? Okay, great.
You're going to say any last words? I was going to say that's quite threatening.
No, not at all. And thanks for coming tonight. And always remember, Lewis, we are